Glad you could join us in our first story. The opposition NDC's ground in Obuasi East constituency appears shaky as supporters question the loyalty of the party's elected parliamentary candidate for the area. The group calling itself Grassroots Members of NDC described the parliamentary candidate elect for the area, Samuel Abuaje, as an alien planted in the party by the NPP, having joined the NDC barely 4 years ago. Agitated members want leadership to act by nullifying his choice, or they will boycott all party activities going into this year's elections. Nana Sentumenta has more in this report.
Delegate in NDC Obuasi East constituency elected Samuel Abuaje to vie for the parliamentary seat on the party's ticket. Grassroots members of NDC alleges the poll was poorly organized to impose an MPP affiliate on the opposition party. Spokesperson Salih bin Elias makes reference to suggestions by NPP regional chairman Bernard Nchibudiakun to influence the choice of NDC leaders in the Ashanti region.
All away, Chairman Wuntumi has set an agenda that he is going to elect candidates for us. He is going to infiltrate the executives, and this is one of them, as we suspect. Because how can somebody from MPP pretend to have joined NDC in some few years, which I don't believe will be more than 2 years, and he will be the leader of the party here? What we fear is we will sit here and the party will draw an agenda, we will draw all our plans, strategies for the elections, and then all of a sudden the decision will be with the MPP, and they will be dictating the pace for us. That is what we are resisting now. We will sit down for Chairman Wuntumi to infiltrate the party through Obuasi East. That is why we got up and we say we are resisting the candidacy of Mr. Solomon Abuaje. We don't have any problem with him. We don't hate him. We don't have any problem with him.
Mr. bin Elias believes NDC constituency executives have played into the hands of the NPP chairman.
In complete disregard for the constitution of the party and the guidelines for the elections, almost all the 23 executive members of Obuasi East and the 28 constituency executive members of the Obuasi West openly campaigned for Samuel Abuaje. Yes. Because of money. All evidence gathered indicates that prior to the elections, the constituency executives, instead of being neutral, were busily calling delegates on phone, influencing and soliciting for their votes for Samuel Abuaje, and some were even with him on the campaign tour. So we are calling on the national to take action on this, because we've seen that the constituency executives, the regional executives have totally failed us.
The grassroots members of NDC fears failure by leaders to heed the call could have damning consequences on the party's electoral fortunes.
We are working for the party. We are the engine of the party. We move the party. We go out there to galvanize for votes. So if they are not heeding to what we are saying, we lay down our tools, we sit back. And what will happen is, as it happened in 2016, there was a voter apathy. Everybody is aware of that. The teaming supporters, NDC has about 16,000 votes here. So I believe that we are going to lose close to 10,000 of the votes. No, it will make me happy, but I can't avoid it. I can't avoid it. It's not in my power to avoid it, because if the party imposes that alien, let me repeat, that alien on us, that is what is going to happen. Because the grassroots members are saying that the party is not rewarding loyalty. They will sit here and somebody else will come from somewhere and then jump into the leadership position.
For JoyNews, Nana Asensumensa, Obuasi.
Now, finding potable water in the Volta region town of Agbogbe is a big struggle. Residents have for years depended on dirty pools of water around the community for drinking. They blame some common waterborne diseases in the area on their lack of a potable source. The chief of the town, Togbe Kuje Adontri VI, is worried about the situation. Fred Duho was in the area and has filed this report. Back to you.
Ghana's quest to attain the Sustainable Development Goal 6, which focuses on provision of clean water and sanitation for all, will remain a mirage if communities such as Agogbe in the South Town districts of the Volta region continue to drink from this water source. Over 12 communities within the Agogbe electoral area remain at risk of waterborne diseases, while children and women are the most vulnerable since they are the first port of contact to these dirty, muddy and disease-infested ponds. The assembly member for the Agogbe electoral area, Mensa Kuje, tells me if their representatives should get their priorities right, it will be possible for basic amenities such as water to be made available to all.
You can see this murky and blackish water that the people of Agogbe are using. And interestingly, our members of parliament are budgeting or going to approve a budget of over 400 million Ghana cedis to purchase a bulletproof curtains for them. And if I compare this amount to the amount they will use to extend water to this community, I think our members of parliament are not setting their priorities right. Because for us to know the difference between life and death, I think water is a key factor. So if they will take into consideration water and bulletproof, and they will choose bulletproof over water, I think they are not setting the priorities of this nation right. And I'm pleading with our members of parliament, especially the South Town District constituency member of parliament, to champion this cause for us, because we need water for the community.
Mr. Kuje tells me all attempts to fix the shoddy engineering work done by the district assembly some decade ago has stalled due to high cost, taking into account the economic status of the members of his community. He says their only hope now hinges on a pending project earmarked to connect water from Sogakope to Togo.
Anytime we table this issue, the member of parliament always informs the house that this issue of water extension to Togo, that is Sogakope to Lumo water project, is in the pipeline. So if the house, that is the national house, the parliamentarians, if they approve that project, then all the communities along the line to Togo will benefit from that project.
The members of a community led by the Avapia of the clan of Teple, traditional area, Togbe Kuje Adontri the Sith, have taken their destiny into their own hands to raise 500,000 cedis to undertake a self-help project. He indicated that the community initiated a Deba celebration to raise the amount for the project that will connect pipe-borne water from the Volta River to the communities.
We have decided now to raise funds so to replace the old pipes that we used, and that is why we are now celebrating this festival. We did it last year, but the money we raised was not enough. We decided to do it again this year. We feel bad. That is why we are putting in this effort, so that something should be done about it. We are not blaming it on anybody. We feel we have to at least take it as a self-initiative, so that we at least embark on projects that can help us change the situation.
A visit to the homes of members of the community revealed that many of them had no choice, and until help comes, they will have to cope or rely on sachet water for drinking. Fred Duhos reports for JoyNews.
Now, a mental health activist has observed that government's neglect of mental health interventions is placing the burden on parents of children with various forms of mental disorder. Almost 8 years after Ghana's mental health law was passed, the legislative instrument for the implementation is outstanding. Nonetheless, a founder of UK-based NGO Talk to Tiana, Akosia Tiana, encourages relatives to continue playing the crucial role in bringing relief to their children. She recommends particularly early medical intervention when such mental disorders and other abnormalities show up. Nana Sentimenta has more.
The World Health Organization predicts mental disorder will increase from 12% of global disease burden in 2000 to 15% in 2020. A report in the African Journal of Psychiatry in 2010 indicates approximately 75% of mental disorders in adults had settled between ages 12 and 24. It means 1 in every 5 people suffers from diagnosable mental disorders in their lifetime. Among children, including adolescents, the prevalence of the menace is estimated to be same as adults. To encourage early detection of mental disorder in children, Talk to Tiana is spearheading awareness campaigns for caregivers at Kumasi Children's Home.
So the aim is to start with awareness and giving early signs and symptoms so that they're able to support the children and get their help earlier. Early prevention is very important because the earlier that you spot the signs and symptoms, then you know what you can do the next step. So my job here is to come and teach the caregivers and the staff members here on how to notice the signs and symptoms and how to support the children. There's various mental illnesses within children. There's so many things that can happen to a child from a young age. There's maybe a child that will be hyper, you won't understand it as an adult, but it can lead to ADHD, autism, that's where it comes from. But without the awareness and without the knowledge, you will not know how to support the child.
Manager at Kumasi Children's Home, Mabel Boama, endorses calls for comprehensive programs to address mental health in children and adolescents.
Actually, as I said, the children are coming from different backgrounds to come and adapt one culture. Therefore, coming in with child psychologists and staff to assist the children to adapt themselves into their new environment will help them a lot.
Talk to Tiana and its local partner Alicia Basel Foundation presented assorted food and other items to the inmates. Bismarck Asamoah Boateng is president of the local partner organization.
The whole idea of this project is really want the kids to have a feeling, like in psychology we call it a community sense of belongingness. You see, he or she sees me, I'm from DHM, so sees another person from let's say Abu Abu, see another person from Swami. You see, often here we see other kids from other churches. So together there is a well feeling among them. So the project is all about helping them to know that we care about them, helping them to know that we are there for them.
For JoyNews, Nana Asensumensa reporting.
Now, the year 2020 may be only days old, but it has already started on a good note for two boys who underwent surgery to correct complex spine deformities. 15-year-old Charles Nee and 11-year-old Bismarck Tebo, who had been discharged from the Focus Orthopedic Hospital after their successful corrective surgeries, still had huge medical bills to settle. As part of activities to climax the year, philanthropist and chief executive of the OBZ Group and Odule Ghana Limited, Ernest Dome, presented a check for 20,000 Ghana cedis to clear some of the bills. Komla Adom, who first told the stories of the two boys, has details.
Charles' story first came to light in July 2019. His condition had affected his ability to walk for long, participate in sporting activities as he used to, among others. Through the benevolence of a Controller and Accountant General's Department Staff Directorate, an MMDA staff of the Greater Accra region and other donors, a substantive amount was raised for the surgery. Despite being discharged from the Focus Orthopedic Hospital weeks after the surgery, little Charles had some medical bills to settle. As a follow-up to his charity donations on his birthday to some families of children with cerebral palsy sometime in 2019, Chairman of OBZ Group and CEO of Udule Ghana Limited, Ernest Dome, cleared all the outstanding medical bills for little Charles. He also cleared 10,000 cedis in medical bills of 11-year-old Bismarck Tevo from the Uti region, whose story also first came to light in June 2019.
I came here to visit the two kids. They were on admission, and I tried to work around the clock. So basically, I put one or two together, and this is how to end the year, because I knew they had some bills to pay. So I'm only here this morning, this afternoon, to give the two patients 10,000 Ghana cedis each to support to clear their bill.
The 11-year-old, who was also discharged weeks after the surgery, had an outstanding bill of more than 40,000 cedis. Chairman of OBZ Group and CEO of Udule Ghana Limited, Ernest Dome, presented a check for 10,000 cedis to settle some of the bills.
This I want to start the year, so that's why I have to bring the Metropolitan Bishop together to come and pray for those that we are not able to help.
We pray today for focus, the works that are going on here. many who come here to seek life, who come here to seek comfort. Lord, use the doctors.
The combined cash donation of 20,000 cedis to the Focus Orthopedic Hospital is in fulfillment of a pledge to help the two boys live again like their peers. Metropolitan Archbishop of Accra, Most Reverend Bonaventure Kofi, lauded the kind efforts of a philanthropist and called on other Christians to cultivate the habit of giving.
We live with the poor, we share with the needy. And so what you have just seen this afternoon for me is there's no message more than this, that we all go out to show love to the needy, to show love, compassion to the sick, the neglected, the abandoned.
An elated mother of one of the two beneficiaries, Sophie Boachie Champong, could not hold back her appreciations.
My son has had the operation, but we still needed some funds to complete the payment. One, Mr. Ernest Dome donated the last part of the money that we wanted, and we've been so grateful. I'm so blessed today. Catholic Archbishop of Accra was here to witness this kind gesture from Mr. Ernest. And then I want to say a big thank you to Ola Girls 92-94 group, who did a vast donation, and also to my colleagues and bosses of the Greater Accra Regional Directorate of Control and Accountant General, who also contributed a very large chunk of money for the surgery. Thankfully, the surgery has been done, and I do not owe Focus.
The year 2020 certainly could not have started any better for little Charles and Bismarck Tevo. Officials of the Focus Hospital were grateful to Ernest Dome and his companies for the gesture.
She's currently the First Lady of
An uplifting note there to take a break. Here in JoyNews Room, we don't only do the news, we can also sing some of your favorite songs from the 90s as well. We're getting ready for the first and the biggest party of the year, Joy 90s Jam, and our team members will be singing some of their songs from back in the day. We'll bring you more after this.
Abua kokotiba, abua kokotiba, obenyina ye kese na wa ye apontreni, abua.
Now, thanks for staying with us. A UK parliamentarian of Ghanaian descent says racism still exists in that country, particularly in Parliament, where she works. Speaking on Joy FM's Super Morning Show today, Bell Ribero Adi said there's been instances where some of her white colleagues wrote letters to black parliamentarians, while some of her black parliamentarians received letters from the public which denigrated them simply because of their skin color.
And I can see where this is an issue that it's a bit divisive. So as a black community in the UK, one thing I do believe is that in order to challenge the issues that we have to unite. Same way in Africa, if we challenge the issues of Africa, everybody has to unite. But because everyone's got their own separate national identity, sometimes it can be a bit separatist, and we should be getting this for this group and this group and this group. But the reality is racism knows no difference.
Okay.
And so when it comes to certain issues, I absolutely believe that all of the ethnic minorities should unite. And I'm not against organising as individuals, even right down to your individual tribe, if you must. I'm a Gang, a proud Gang. My family are from Osu, La, and Kolegono.
Ghana has a growing but vibrant movie industry and has for decades been an important location for movie making. From Jackie Appiah, John DeMello, Santos, Ejakos to many others. But the landscape diversity is what many people believe is not attracting global attention. A group of vibrant young men are taking the industry to another level, giving it a new face in the international world. JoyNews' Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin has been speaking to the directors and producers.
The team we are working with right now are those we started the action movie from the onset. We knew we wouldn't be able to compete with Ajako and others, so we thought it wise to go a different way from the comic style.
Meet Saeed Idris and Yakubu Sata, director and producer of WWE Africa. They are bringing a dramatic change in the movie industry.
I'm just wondering, you look at the scenes of the movies, especially the one that you did about these two, more like a Chinese or
title Machete Man there.
Yes, that particular movie. People are wondering, how were you able to accomplish that?
Okay, maybe I can be action director. You know, name 1 or 2 beer or the cabo mobbit in the BT nipa. Yes, and never wrote about to say yes, I didn't cost no.
I am an action director, so I know the strategies to adapt to make the movie meaningful. The wrestling is a difficult one, of course, but we are still coping.
So, don't try this at home.
They have managed to form their own wrestling champions in the outskirts of Kumasi. Take a look at this.
Horses don't have horns, Margo! A reign of terror that has branched out as the match started. Spear! Oh my God! Choke slam! No way! Choke slam to Spear! Mysterio whipped across the ring. Here we go! Watch out! Rey Mysterio! What a counter by Mysterio! Here comes the WWE champion.
But that is not all.
So we those kind of projects, and I just say we who much about cinematography, because fighting and as a stunt and as a fighting choreography, no, necessary and na forms are directors no cry to me because the actor no adena obey no say ono no ntimi nya e wo say wo ye kire no say adena wo ye ne say it is so.
Before you start these kind of movies, you need to have better knowledge about cinematography. It is not an easy task teaching the actors what they should do. You have to sometimes demonstrate to them, and this may result in some injuries.
Genesis of the Ashantis.
We are also coming out with a new movie titled Genesis of the Ashantis. It is a 2019 movie.
Genesis of the Ashantis. And I don't know we were from. I don't know. Yeah, I know 2019 movie Ankasa. Yeah, target Hollywood.
Still live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Daze. Up next is business.